Hello, welcome back to another episode of Exam Tips with Maths Education. Today we are going to zoom in on the editing section for the O-levels. Did you know that the errors that you pick out for the editing section can be broken down into 10 categories? I'm going to share with you these 10 categories, and if you master them, you should be on your way to scoring a good grade for the editing section. So let's get underway. We have 10 broad sections or broad categories for the editing errors. They are namely word form, tenses, singular plural, subject-verb agreement, prepositions, conjunctions, determiners, pronouns, countable, uncountable, and the last one being comparatives. I will now zoom into each of the individual sections to just give you a broad idea of what it entails. But before we proceed, do take note that when you pick out an error in that category, you can only change to something within that same category. Meaning that if you're picking out something for tenses, it has to be changed with a S, ED, EN in that sense. You cannot change to a completely different word. Alright? Now, let's get underway. The first one will be word form. So for word form, you're looking at words like happy, changing it to happily, or happiness. So this is for word form. The next one that we're going to zoom into will be tenses. Now tenses is pretty common for all of you. Tenses will be your past tense, present tense, past participle. So you have words like maybe wake. Change it to wakes. Woke, woken, woken up. She has woken up, past participle. The next one that we're talking about is also very common, singular plural. So I start off with the common ones, then I move on to stuff that are less common. So singular plural, some will classify as articles. So you have like your bicycle become bicycles. Okay, so do take note of this. This is quite easy to pick out, and usually students will get the marks for this. For the fourth one, we are talking about subject-verb agreement. So what exactly is subject-verb agreement? So your action has to match the subject, usually being the animal, the person, the object. Mary walk to the market daily. Mary walks. Single person, and it's an everyday thing, so in the present tense. For our fifth error, looking at prepositions. Now, what exactly are prepositions? Prepositions are your common ones like on, off, under, with, for. So you have to know your prepositions, especially your phrasal verbs, showing concern for somebody, not showing concern to. You show concern for, alright? Now, so that is under prepositions. After that, we have conjunctions. Conjunctions, otherwise known as your connectors. Connectors will be your either, or, neither, nor, although, but, and, so. So these are just some of the examples, but it's not exhaustive. There are more to that. Alright, so do explore this area as well. This is a very common area to take note. There is always an error for every editing that pops up for this category. Now, okay, after you have your conjunctions, the next one is determiner. Now, determiner is simple yet tricky. Determiner for NO levels falls into this broad category of and the. So if you pick out an error for and you know that it is a specific thing to mention, it is a car that you know, so it is the car. You can only change within this category, that means and the. You unlikely to change it to this, that, or those, because that falls under the next category that I'm going to talk about, which are pronouns. This, that, his, hers, ours, ourselves, themselves, she. They fall under another broad category. So just remember, a and the can only usually be changed within themselves for the errors. Now, moving on to the last two errors, which are usually less common but they still pop up. One is your countables and uncountables. Countables, uncountables, do we use little, few, usually describing sugar, salt? Okay, few, little. Ask yourselves, can you measure it? And then you should be able to pick out a right quantifier. The last one that we are talking about are comparatives. Comparatives are, okay, we use back the word happy. Happy, happier, happiest. Better, good, best. Bad, worse, worst. So this is also one category that you have to take note. If you take note of all the 10 categories that I've mentioned, you should be on your way to scoring a pretty good grade for editing. Alright, that brings me to one final tip for your editing section. Whenever you encounter your editing section, please read through the entire text first and write at the side whether it is in present tense, past tense. Does it change from present to past? Does it change from past to present? If we get our tenses wrong, we'll be picking out a lot of correct things and changing them to the wrong ones. I hope you find this episode useful for you again. See you next time. Bye-bye.